Many Chrysler Corporation compact and subcompact passenger car models with air conditioning now have the new Sankyo compressor. Instead of having a crankshaft which moves two pistons like most compressors, the Sankyo uses a cam rotor or swivel plate, a planet plate, and ball joints to move 5 pistons. This results in smoother operation, lighter weight, high efficiency, and easier serviceability. Also on the Sankyo, you'll see the familiar electromagnetic clutch and reed valve system. Although you may think all these internal parts are going to make your job difficult, servicing the Sankyo is really quite simple. If the compressor should develop an internal fault, you don't service it at all. You simply replace the entire unit. All the real servicing you'll ever have to do concerns the clutch plate, the pulley assembly, the clutch bearings, the clutch coil, the shaft seal cartridge, and the valve plate assembly. You can service the compressor either on or off the car. On the bench, hold the compressor by the mounting lugs. Don't over-tighten the vise. Also, use the special compressor service tools. They'll help you do the job right. If clutch bearing noise indicates excessive bearing wear, you'll have to remove the bearings. First, remove the clutch plate. To take off the pulley, remove the shaft key and shaft shims. Also, don't forget to remove both snap rings. Now, using the special puller tool, remove the pulley assembly. Check the pulley and clutch plate surfaces for excess or uneven wear. If one part is faulty, you'll need a new clutch plate and pulley assembly. However, if both the clutch plate and pulley are good, remove the clutch bearings with the help of an arbor press. Place the tapered end of the drive sleeve tool on the inner race of the bearing. Remove both bearings. When you install a new set of matched bearings, place the black seal sides together. Make sure the colored sides face outward. Position the pulley face up. Place the wide end of the drive sleeve tool on the bearing outer race. Be sure both bearings are fully seated. After installing new bearings, place the conical end of the drive sleeve tool on the bearing inner race and set up the pulley installation tool. Fully seat the pulley. Next, reinstall the shims and key. Don't forget to reinstall both snap rings. Incidentally, if you're installing a new clutch plate and pulley set, check your reference book for details on the method for determining the number of shims you'll need to get the right clutch gap. Use the smaller drive tool to reinstall the clutch plate. Be sure the clutch plate is fully seated. Check to see that the clutch air gap is between 16 and 32 thousandths of an inch. If not, remove the clutch plate and add or delete shims as necessary. Finish the job by torquing the shaft nut to 25 to 30 foot-pounds. If the clutch fails to engage, or slips or smokes, test the coil. Also, be sure to check the compressor ground strap for loose connections. If you find an open or short circuit, replace the coil. With the clutch plate and pulley removed, take off the coil. Install a new coil by first aligning the tab at the bottom of the coil with the recess in the compressor housing. Tighten each screw to 25 to 30 inch-pounds. Reinstall the pulley, clutch plate, and shaft nut. If a leak test indicates a faulty compressor shaft seal, you'll have to replace the seal. First, slowly release the refrigerant charge. Rapid release will carry oil out of the system. After removing the clutch plate, shaft key, and shims, take off the internal snap ring. Remove the seal seat using the special tool. Make sure the seal cartridge tool locks onto the cartridge. Gently pull while rotating the tool. Carefully pick out the O-ring and discard it. Before installing a new seal, clean and thoroughly flush the cavity with refrigerant to remove all dirt and foreign particles. Coat a new O-ring with refrigerant oil and install it. Coat the seal cartridge with refrigerant oil. Don't touch the micro-finished surface or allow it to come into contact with any object. Place the seal on the tool tangs. Dip the shaft protector in refrigerant oil and place it in the seal. Rotate the tool as you install the seal. Coat the seal seat with refrigerant oil. Be careful not to touch its micro-finished surface. Install the seal seat with a rocking motion. When the seal is seated, reinstall the snap ring, shaft key, clutch plate, and shaft nut. If poor system performance indicates faulty compressor valve operation, first, discharge the system. Remove all 5 cylinder head bolts and tap off the head with a soft head hammer. Remove the valve plate by prying the plate at the side opposite the guide pin to avoid damaging the pin. Check the valves. If any of the valves are bent, cracked, or otherwise faulty, you'll have to replace the valve plate assembly. Scrape the gasket or any gasket material off the cylinder block and head. Be sure to remove any gasket particles that fall into the cylinders. Apply a light film of clean refrigerant oil on the cylinder block before you install the gasket. Also, apply oil on both sides of the valve plate and on the cylinder head. Torque the cylinder head bolts to 22 to 25 foot-pounds. Evacuate and recharge the system. You should check the oil level if you discharge the system for any reason. This compressor has no sump, so correct oil level is very important. Before you check the oil level, you'll first have to operate the compressor to recover some of the oil from the rest of the air conditioning system. Disconnect and plug the vacuum hose to the heater water valve. With the engine at idle and the windows up, push the max AC button, set the temperature control to high, and flip the blower to high. After 10 minutes, stop the engine and discharge the system. Do it slowly to avoid losing any oil. After discharging the system, reconnect the water valve vacuum hose. Loosen the compressor drive belt and mounting bolts and move the compressor so that the filler plug is in the top dead center position. Don't remove the plug too fast or the compressor oil will escape with the refrigerant. Allow 5 minutes for refrigerant to bubble out of the oil. After the refrigerant evaporates, turn the clutch plate so the notch is located about 110 degrees from the bottom. A housing bolt indicates the right spot. Before inserting the dipstick, cool it with refrigerant. Insert the dipstick until the stop bottoms out. The oil level should be at 3 to 4 ounces. Add or remove oil if necessary. Reinstall the plug and return the compressor to the original position, making sure the drive belt tension is at the proper level. Evacuate and recharge the system and check for leaks. Unlike other compressors which prevent evaporator freeze-up with an evaporator pressure regulator valve, the Sankyo uses a cycling clutch switch mounted near the evaporator H valve. If the switch malfunctions, it prevents compressor clutch engagement or allows frost to form on the evaporator coils. If the compressor clutch does not engage, but the clutch coil tests out okay, check the cycling switch after turning off the air conditioning system. If the switch circuit is open at temperatures above 50 degrees, you'll have to replace the switch. If the customer should complain about a gradual drop in air conditioning output or excessive water dripping, first remove the insulating tape wrapped around the suction line. And check the sensing tube attaching clamp for looseness. Also check the suction line for dirt. If the clamp screw is loose, tighten it to 15 to 20 inch-pounds. Recheck the system operation. But if the clamp is tight and there's no dirt on the suction line and the switch is closed, you'll have to temperature test the switch. Place the sensing tube in ice water. Do not bend the serpentine portion of the tube. If the switch is good, cooling it should quickly open the circuit. If it doesn't, replace the switch. That's all the time we have here, but you'll find out more about how to service this air conditioning system and diagnose complaints in your reference book and service manual. Like many car components, the Sankyo compressor is a lot easier to service than it looks.